the March 23rd technical review meeting. My name is Chris Spencer. I'm the town planner for the town of Tiverton, and I'm going to have Ed Rotella, the land use clerk, introduce the technical review committee.
Okay, we're gonna start to my left. We have our consulting engineer from Weston & Sampson, Nathan Michael. We also have our consultant planner for our Tiverton Commons project, Susan Mara from Weston & Sampson as well. Chris Spencer, our planner. We have a member of the planning board, Rosemary Eva, another member of the planning board, Richard Taylor, our building official, Thomas Verada, and our fire marshal, Captain Daniel Murphy.
All right, so our first item here, applicant is the vital of Tiverton Commons, so I'm going to invite the applicant to come up.
I'm actually going to ask if you can just skip over us. I'm missing an engineer from PAR.
Sure. So we will go to
Mike. Susan.
yeah, finish number 2, Susan. Go.
You can just clip that on wherever.
What's that?
In the mic's for you, or you can clip that on wherever.
Do
Do you want to put the plans on the screen?
I can.
Yeah, if we could.
Yeah.
Do you guys have, Chris, did you bring something? Because we have plans here too.
If you set the plans, you can go with Heather.
Okay. You have Chief?
Yeah, I've got
Oh, yeah.
the cable going right up to the podium. That's not as far as I.
Okay. We'll bring it to you. Yeah.
You have I have a.
Yeah, it's public.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
No password.
Speaker.
Should you bring your Rich, please? See if I gotta kick it back on. Stand by.
While Chris is setting that up, I can just give a brief overview and introduction. I'm Attorney Matthew Lander from the Office of Bush and Cabin on behalf of the applicant, Jordan Durham, the applicant, Christy Hamill from Creek Engineering. We did have a planning board meeting on this back in January, I believe, and we've postponed moving that further until we had an opportunity to come before TRC and present this application. This is at 0 Sousa Road, just to ensure familiar with the property. This does have a little bit of history with it. It was previously approved as a comprehensive permit application. There were 46 units. It was a mixed-use development that had residential and commercial throughout the property. Because of the change in market, Jordan can talk a little bit more about that. There was a pivot from the original design to reduce the number of the commercial units just because the market wouldn't sort of dictated that it wouldn't support as much commercial as originally proposed. But we wanted to maintain some of the affordable components. So it's been redesigned at a smaller density. About 40 units, duplexes, and some single-family residences throughout the development. And the only commercial space that's being proposed is a pad site towards the front on Main Road. That's where the 4 LMI units will be located in there. This is not being proposed as a comprehensive permit application. It's a more traditional application while the applicant is volunteering the 4 LMI units. But this modification of the plan gives a little bit more flexibility and preserves the property into the future without empty or vacant commercial spaces, as the market dictates, and obviously there's a significant need for residential housing. In conjunction with this plan, there is a proposal to amend the zoning ordinance. There's something known as the RMUD ordinance that is an age-restricted mixed-use development. It was specifically designed for the village at Mount Hope Bay, directly across the street. There are a couple of provisions in there that require it to have 90 acres of land and a significant amount of waterfront frontage. And it's really the only property in town that you could ever do an RMUC. And respectfully, we think it makes a lot of sense to do this. This was originally contemplated as part of the village's Mount Hope Bay. It is otherwise allowed in the general commercial zone. This is also in a pedestrian-friendly overlay zone. So we think it makes a lot of sense to do this here. There's less fiscal impacts, obviously, with an age-restricted community. But this is asking for both approval of the development application as well as an amendment, an advisory recommendation to the town council on the amendment portion of it. We're revisiting that a little bit to narrow the scope of that request. Based on planning board comments from the last meeting, there was some concern over the widespread changes or the impacts that would have. We've got some ideas that will narrow the impacts to the general commercial zone and not allow that to be developed in other zones. It would be limited to specific parcels as opposed to townwide impacts, and I think it will help control some of those concerns. But from the development side, Chris, if you want to walk us through the plans.
Certainly. Chris Duhamel, Degree Engineering, we had presented the master plan at the planning board meeting, and it was all forwarded to the TRC meeting for more detail. The site is 8.18 acres in Tiverton with frontage on Sousa Road and Main Road. The proposed development is to have a zone change to allow for senior living, 37 total units, 34 duplexes, two single-family condominiums, commercial building on Main Road with four apartments that are all LMI, 40 total units, so I think my math is off by 36 condos, two single-family and four units. So 10% of the development would be considered low and moderate income. The access to the site was questioned, I guess, at the master plan, whether it met fire apparatus, fire safety standards. And we had presented a truck turning, fire truck turning through the site, through the entrance of the site. There was a 5% grade rise. So this access was approved previously with a previous master plan approval, so we felt confident presenting it again. So we show the truck accessing through the site to the cul-de-sac. The lower cul-de-sac was a pre-application, was questioned by the planning board to have a proper turnaround, so we incorporated a hammerhead turnaround with grass pavers that would support a fire vehicle, and demonstrated how that would provide for the turnaround and access out of the site. The other issues that were brought forward with will serve letters for water and sewer. There's existing sewer easement on the property along Sousa Road that we tie into and utilize. And at this point, I believe gravity sewer would work throughout the development. All that has to be engineered, of course, but we're coming back through the access road to the entrance of Susan Road for that. And water, we have a Wilson letter that we're looking to update. And I realize that there's quite a bit of work on that regard with the capacity of the water service to this area. So that's something that we'd have to work more on. More than make sure that. Stormwater would be maintained, particularly with pervious pavement throughout the site. This is a private road that is proposed that be maintained by the condominium association. So this fits well with the stormwater system to have it. The additional maintenance that might be considered for pervious pavement wouldn't be borne by the city, but by the town, it would be borne by the homeowners association. Now, I think that's the an overview. If there's any questions, I can certainly expand.
First on road D, would it be possible for you guys to run auto turn just to show? I know that's going to kind of sort of like a T-shaped turnaround, if we'd like to use it back, just to run that to be sure that the.
It's on the screen, what we had submitted,
Okay.
and utilize
Looking
the,
at an old version. Okay. What's the date on this one?
this is,
We had a different one as well. Yeah.
10/10/25. No.
Yeah, we had about 12 there. And we got 9, 12 on our back, so.
Okay,
Just make sure we got that.
I think we received comments and we just, comments but didn't resubmit it to the town, that's always good.
Yes. Go over that on the table. Start to find.
Me? So in the packet, I noticed that there was a fire service letter dated April 25th, 2022. I would respectfully request that that be null and void since it's been, almost 4 years now. And then a new letter between me, probably not to the water, because I think Stonebridge, Stonebridge water, be redone so that it's an up-to-date letter. I noticed there's only one fire hydrant on this entire property, so that may have to get looked at. That's on sheet 5 of 8. So to me, that's unacceptable. Again, I'm looking at probably an old plan, but sheet 5 of 8 only shows one fire hydrant in the area of the, where Service Road B connects with Road A. To me, that's unacceptable for this project. I don't know of any others, I don't see any. I know it says, we might end up with a fire pump depending on pressures, because I know the water's coming up from Main Road. And I understand the project to their east is also having water pressure issues on the higher end, so that's gonna have to get looked at. Where are the cars going to park, guest parking?
We have parking off-site, we have 2-car garages, we have driveways that we provide for another 2 cars.
But where are the other people be? So my concern is the road is 20 feet now, curb to curb, which is the requirement for the NFPA for fire truck access. So if we now have people parking on the roads, how are we going to maintain access for fire trucks? Because again, if somebody's having a party and they have more than 4 cars, where are those people gonna park? Because again, I need access to the fire trucks to get through.
The NFPA requirement
Assume parking on the street,
Nope, it's clear width.
there is pavement first, not,
Unobstructed 20 width, not to include vehicles parking on street. NFPA 1, 18.2.3,
we have driveway, we have double the parking requirement, so we have 2 parkways, 4 parking spaces for everything.
Nothing, just because I know in a residential neighborhood, parking on the streets, it's just one of my concerns. You only show access in from Sousa Road to this coming from the west. What about coming from the east?
For the fire truck turning?
Yes. You only show it in one direction, you don't show it in two.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We picked the most constrained direction. We could definitely show another truck turning. Lost it already.
Yeah.
We tried to meet with your office and we were told not to talk directly to you. Is that the truth?
So all the meetings have to go through planning so that all the information goes directly through planning, just so that there's no misinterpretation of it. So if you want to meet with me, that's fine, but we just need to make sure that planning is involved. Just
So
so,
how would we
So just want to
facilitate
funnel
that?
any
Right.
questions or responses through me.
Okay.
Our office.
Yeah.
That way we can separate that and make sure that we're.
Can I just address this parking, the
Yep.
main entrance parking? So the geometry of this parking entrance was kind of a holdover from the previously approved master plan. The previous plans had, based on some recommendation, traffic report, had this access kind of north, further up on Sousa Road and making that bend the way that it's depicted there.
if I'm
We
correct,
would be happy to make that more,
well, if I'm
straight in
correct,
turn.
the original plan was
I don't like the
wider.
way it is now, to be honest.
Yeah, the original plan at that entrance was, I think, wider, which had like a drive-over island or something like that. Because I remember saying, what's the island looking like? And somebody said it was gonna be a drive-over island at that entrance at Sousa Road.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but what I'm referring to is, we'd be happy to make it so it's less of an S curve coming in from Main Road.
So it's a little
It's better,
straighter.
better jump.
Right.
This is a kind of a weird holdover from the previous plan that we
Yeah.
haven't updated, that we'd be happy to take that a little, and that came up at the last meeting. I don't like the geometry, it gets too close to that building one with the turners coming in, so.
And that's not needed to deal with the elevation change.
I don't believe so, right?
There is a steep, it's 5%, which is not steep at this current configuration, so there'd probably be a small increase in percentage going up to 8% is what the town standards are, so we could look at that.
I think it would ease that
Yep.
turning radius quite a bit, so that's not something that we're
This is-
very sensitive.
You're coming, this is the tightest turn that the fire truck would have to make, but
And we can certainly make it lighter too.
we'll draw it so the Jeep is.
And my other question is, who on the end of Road B, who approved that hammerhead turnaround with grass pavers? Because I personally, for fire trucks, do not like grass pavers, because who's gonna maintain them? And I have a very large ladder truck that will sink in that at some point, so if you're gonna do turnarounds, it's going to be required to be asphalt for me, just because of continuity and maintenance. I don't know who approved that, I haven't even seen that until right now.
Yeah, so it hasn't been approved, it's going to be submitted to the planning department and the Robert Tito office. But this is a standard that's approved in many municipalities that supports a fire vehicle use. The grass paved, reinforced grass paved.
Structural grid with the concrete pavers.
Yes, a PVC grid that's on a 8 to 12 inch base of gravel so that there's no deflection. The PVC grid allows for grass blooms to be put in and seeded, and it's maintained as a lawn. So the homeowners association, in this case, all the landscaping is maintained by the homeowners
Who's
association.
gonna plow it, who maintains it when everything sinks?
Exactly, the homeowners association.
That can't be concerned, because they will not plow it.
Yes, they will. They have to. They absolutely have to.
Also, just note that the NFPA requirement for fire access is served by Sousa Road to these buildings, so
So you can only drive 150 feet straight to a dead end without a turnaround.
but it's a driveway, it's not a fire access road. The 150 feet is for a fire access road, this is not.
So how do I get to building 17 from my fire truck?
Sousa Road, it's less than 50 feet, Sousa Road, just like any house that fronts Sousa
So
Road.
you want me to track through from Sousa Road straight through, went to
I
Sousa.
mean, it comes through the road, it's less than, it meets all NFPA requirements for a building frontage on Cedar Road.
So I'm not talking about frontage. Building 17 catches fire right now. How do I break that fire?
You go in from Sousa Road.
Like, how do I go through Sousa Road if the access
What if there
is?
was no road B and it was just a house out of the driveway on the building on the road, on the Cedar Road?
Well, so I gotta get onto building B, correct? On road B to get into building 17?
No, you could go in from Sousa Road. It's only 50 feet from the road.
There's no trees, there's no nothing.
No, it's gonna be clear. So it's a sewer easement and a front yard with a walkway. It meets the NFPA requirements. This has been done in many municipalities without having fire turnarounds on the service road.
Where's that front
garage-
door?
That's the garage alleyway.
Is that front door through the
The
road
front
B?
door is on that sidewalk at building 17 facing up to Sousa Road.
Again, I haven't seen, this is what I'm looking at, so I don't know how this layout is. I still don't agree with.
We submitted plans with architectural plans to show the floor plan, show where the front door is. That is a garage access driveway. It's a driveway. It's a rear access just to make it so that the front of Sousa Road is not loaded up with garages and curb cuts. It's not necessary for an FBA to have fire trucks going down Grove B. It's not a road, it's a driveway.
And what is the impact for public safety on this project?
What do you mean?
Like fire protection, EMS, what is the impact?
New construction with fire separated townhouse, code compliant construction.
That's it. So, yeah, all right.
So I was reading reports in some reports in 2015 from state environmental about previous contamination on the site.
Yep.
And they said that it was recommended that for future earthwork was to be performed, site soil management should be in place.
Yep.
Are you guys aware of that or?
Yep, so you will do contracts over some of the excavation work. And what do you think, Tom?
Right there. That's it. The site.
Yeah, my comments were all contingent on the adoption of the changes we talked about last time, which we didn't have, so. It appears that most of them, that those that they gave, don't want no to consider the latest copy of
Can I say something in regards to Stonebridge Water? Just so they know what we plan on doing is feeding with 1 meter into this development.
Yeah, would you be able to come up and just, talk, do you have a microphone?
Yeah, we can grab from the stand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, just, I agree with Fire Marshal that there needs to be more hydrants in there, because basically the way you're feeding is kind of a dead-end situation. So this is gonna be a private development, so you're gonna be responsible for shoveling the hydrants, painting the hydrants, maintaining the hydrants.
Can you just, sorry, just one second, can you just state your name again, just so we have it for the.
Carl's Restaurants, Stonebridge Fire District. And also you, once we run the model, you may need a pump station there, and that's gonna also have to be owned by the HMO, not by Stonebridge. So, I just wanted you to be aware of that, for any questions you have.
So, yeah, so if you're not taking, care of those hydrants, I'm just gonna need somebody, a plan on who's maintaining these hydrants.
We'll still go in there and flush them.
All right, okay.
We'll flush
All
them,
right,
but I'm
okay,
not
that's
painting
fine.
them, I'm not shoveling them,
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be as part of the homeowners association, they're responsible for all snow removal.
Yeah.
And obviously, the number of hydrants is subject to your engineer determination, well, this is just master plan, we have. Well, what is it, hydrants, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Well, maybe I'm on the line here saying, look, Mr. Flynn made a statement about the original harbor, and the Arma was developed in an industrial zone, and there was no contention at the time. This lot, this was a separate lot from historical, And it was supposed to meet the needs of people in the villages, not to expand any residential. You know, we developed that way. Now we have this, and we had a comprehensive permit, and now we have a change to the armor ordinance. And the board has been kept in the dark, as far as I'm concerned, on the things that happen. And the information that we've been given is 2022 on traffic. I'm very disappointed in this application.
This is a 2022 approval, and this is a new master plan application, so we understand a lot of this is going to have to be updated. And as you know, more detailed traffic studies, engineering reports, all of that can be updated based on the feedback that we get from this board, and we have every intention of supplying the board with that. We've been very transparent about what the proposal is here. And our concern is that this project remains viable, and with the amount of commercial space that has been approved with the original master plan, this presents a much more viable project for the future long term. And the comprehensive plan specifically states that the RMUC was created to create the village of Apple Bay. It's in one of the opening paragraphs of the land use plan. So when I say that this was contemplated for this area, the general commercial zone, that RMUC was designed specifically to allow that development to continue. And age-restricted communities are very favorable now because they have lower fiscal impacts, allow new housing types for those that are leaving single-family homes, which is a goal set forth in the comprehensive plan, is that you need more housing types because there's very few places where you can do mixed use, particularly with the recent zoning amendments. So this, in our opinion, respectfully presents a much more viable option for the property. It provides much needed housing type that Tiverton comprehensive plan contemplates for the future of the town. So if it's a matter of transparency and any additional documentation, I mean, we have every intention of producing that. This originally came in as an amendment to an existing master plan. After some consensus from the town, we were asked to come in with a completely new submission and new material, that we have every intention of supplementing those documents to address the concerns we have with respect to traffic and land use plan.
I respect you. I mean, we get more from you than we have gotten, at least on my part, from staff to more. And every time you come before us, we learn something.
Well, yeah, I just also add that we submitted the prior traffic study with the kind of understanding that we've reduced the unit count by like almost 20% from what was previously approved. And we've also eliminated all the commercial space except for the 1,500 square feet out on Main Road. So we've dramatically reduced the amount of traffic that was in the prior plan, which was previously approved. So
yeah, it was. I mean, we can obviously supplement.
We can submit a new traffic study or submit a letter amendment updating the counts, but it's a dramatic reduction in what was previously approved in traffic.
Do you know the problems we have had in that area? I mean, as far as the density is coming up, we're increasing the density, and then the deputy has brought out many of the concerns that the board, I know myself, have had as far as that particular Sousa Road goes and coming up. If you live in this town, you know what happens with the school buses, and you keep that in mind.
No, we understand that, and I mean, we're proposing age restricted, so we don't expect any school-aged children, and we're proposing less units than were previously planned and approved.
And it's much less than what is allowed by right under existing densities. Use the next closest residential zone, which I think is the R60, and we'd be allowed 56 to 60 units under by right zoning. So this is far less dense than what's allowed by right, and also less dense than what was originally approved. So with respect to the traffic counts and the impacts, we would state that it's far less dense than what was already on the books, and the reports contemplate a project of higher density that would comport to traffic levels and levels of service and those things, but we can certainly update the data to reflect those kind of things.
I mean, the traffic study is not what I'm used to. I mean, to me, it's outdated. I mean, a lot of changes have been made. Rest my case.
I think with the traffic study itself, obviously, I think we're pointing about the fact that there's a reduction in density and all that is noted. Obviously, the update's really going to be looking at what else has occurred around there, what other road is happening right now. So those are the updates I think that are going to be important. Obviously, the master plan stage, this is, fine, but as we move forward, I think we're going to, those are the updates.
And I also forgot something, and that's a possibility of contamination. It's Brownsville's there. I mean, the borings have done, we haven't seen anything, is there contamination still?
We submitted a complete report from Sage Environmental that the property is clean to a residential grade status of clean. It was a long time ago.
Was that on your watch or was that on the other developers?
It was on our, we had Sage do an analysis of all the prior work to extensive environmental work. This property was owned by Starbucks. This was,
I know.
right as you know. So this property was part of the same oil tank fields that the village of Mountain Bay were. When the remedial work was done in preparation for the village's Mountain Bay, cleanup work was also done at this property. When we acquired it, we had State Environmental do an analysis of all the prior remedial work that had been completed and gave us an analysis that summarized that you submitted what the current status of DEM is for the remedial cleanup. It's remediated at a residential grade of use.
I said the process.
And I'm just clarifying, we submitted that report. It's in those 500 pages of stuff we submitted in the application.
Has that been written?
So the building official just commented on the city. Those reports are, they're not to be updated every year. It's clean. It's clean until any further site work activity, like he was asking about. When we do excavation, we'll have Sage there to confirm that there's nothing encountered in the excavation activities that wasn't anticipated.
Jet fuel tanks were up there on that hill.
Right. And they've been reviewed.
So as we move forward, I'll probably have additional questions in terms of the building elevations and pedestrian circulation. But I do have a question in terms of overall with the Starwood development. Have you guys had any conversations with them?
They don't own the property.
No, I understand that. But an RMARC typically requires certain amenities within that. I know you guys looking for modifications to the RMARC. I just thought it would make sense for at least have a conversation with them to see if some of those amenities might be available at least for a fee for some of these residents. That are, the typical things that you would expect in the outcome.
I mean, we have
some recreational facilities, different things like that.
We have the walkout, the lookout area. That was something that came up during pre-app and I think our initial meeting. So there's been some consideration given for the lookout area.
Yeah, it's a nice outdoor public space.
Yeah, and then
I would just say take a look at that and just see if there's anything that stands out to you in terms of the RMARC that would typically be required that you're looking for modification on, just to see if there's another way. Maybe there's an agreement between.
Yeah, I mean, our reading of the ordinance was that the common overlook park area was in satisfaction of the requirement for.
I'm just trying to create a little more synergy between these two developments.
Yeah, obviously Starwood has no further interest in that property. It's managed and owned by the county.
I understand that. I'm just saying that it's good to have a conversation between the developer of this and Starwood just to see.
Well, Starwood has no interest in Village of Mount Bay. It's owned by the residents.
What the Village of Mount Bay, sorry.
So that would be the residents of the community that would have to allow and want these people at this condominium to be part of their condominium. I don't see that being feasible.
Yeah, just from a liability standpoint, allowing a new development to use this, I mean, I don't know how that's going to work out or not, but we didn't ask for a waiver from the recreational amenities that are required in the ordinance. We had every intention of complying with that lookout building. And then the commercial space, we're hoping for some type of a coffee shop or, small amenity that would provide some access to the.
Well, they'll probably get a good enough workout walking all the way there.
Probably. Because of the grade change that would.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine you're going to be doing a staircase in there, they're going out to the main road.
Yeah, Jordan and Chris can comment more, but just they have evaluated that. There was a desire to put a walkway down, but with the grade change and making it ADA compliant, just seemed really difficult to be able to accomplish that.
So are there going to be, I know you got sidewalks right across the front of the buildings at Sousa. What kind of connection do you see happening from there to the next parcel?
I mean, obviously, we don't own the corner parcels, so our sidewalks will connect to the future connection when those sidewalks are constructed.
Just wanna make sure that
Developers.
Because all I'm seeing here is it just going to the front of the building, and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, this is just the architectural site plan. I think if you go to Chris's plan,
Okay.
it shows their book.
This is the landscape architect plan that has sidewalks delineated along Sousa.
Okay,
It's something the planning board insisted on.
yep, all right, we're good.
So our DPW director, Dave Sylvia, was not able to attend today, but he did send over a question, Chris, about the overflow catch basins raised 2 inches above final grade. He was just concerned about, he said, not from obviously they're being plowed by a private company, but he just said, worried about the plows, catching, catch basins, breaking the plows, and just concerned about that.
I'm not familiar with where that is specified. I know during construction, that's often the case that isolates the infiltration system from sediments, but there's other means to do that as well with silt sacks and catch basins. So I don't know where.
Is that just during construction when there's just the binder coat down?
Yeah, only then, and I can't imagine, why it would be specified full-time, so.
So
I'm not sure where that reference comes from.
Let's see.
on the,
In the cul-de-sac
yeah,
on sheet 5.
Yep.
Those two catch basins are,
Yeah,
again, it's conceptual, probably, but that's the reference he's on.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, this is obviously conceptual, so the full drainage hasn't been designed yet.
so that's the only one for this one, yeah.
This is where the note comes from anyway.
Is that just an error, Chris, or?
Yeah. What I was thinking in the last minute.
Yeah, so we put together a memo, which I'll give to you after the meeting, but, yeah, our main comment is that it just appears that the utilities are conceptual, nature. So right now, there should definitely some conflicts with existing utilities and some notes and whatnot, and items missing like hydrants and the elevations. So we'll take a look at that once you, get further along, and, along with your stormwater management plan, so I just wanted to note that. Another note on the plan set is, almost I missed it, I didn't see, you have the wetlands shown, but usually there's a note on the date and who the wetland scientist was that flagged those. I just didn't see that on the plans. If you could add that note to the plans.
It was originally Scott Rabideau, but then we took it over when he retired.
Okay.
So we re-flagged it and had it re-verified.
Okay. Yeah, so you can just add that, that'd be great. I didn't notice any communal trash receptacle for the commercial building or the buildings. Would it just be individual? Would you put a dumpster down on Main? If so, maybe just show the location so we're all aware of where that is.
It's
I think it's gonna depend on what the future of that tenant ends up being, but we can show something, obviously.
And the residents would just be individual?
Yeah, again, it's the scale of how we deal with trash, but we have more commercial tenant, but we can show something.
And then, I think it was mentioned before, but we had an older version of the turning plan, which didn't show going down Road B. But also on the plan that we had, there was no dimensions for the truck. Did you put the dimensions on this plan? And if so, could you just make sure they're, yeah, okay. So all that was blank on the one we received.
Yeah, there was a separate sheet, it was a 101 sheet, that was kind of.
Yeah,
It's still blank.
but it was still blank.
Oh, it was?
It has the name, it has the outline, but not the numbers, not the measurements.
But
Yeah, so you could just submit this version of it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have it. And then the main thing, if you go to sheet 4.
I don't have the entire set.
Oh, okay. On sheet 4, you mentioned the dimensional regulations for R60 and then also the pedestrian-friendly zone. And we double-checked with the regulations, and we just had different numbers. I don't know if I had an older version or if this is an older version, but, so for pedestrian-friendly district, minimum lot area is, we had this 12,000 when we checked it. And then for the pedestrian-friendly zone, one above that, maximum lot coverage, we get 20%. So if you just double check these tables on the next draft of the plans. Yeah, we just didn't check it. When we checked it, it was different numbers. And then, in addition, our interpretation of the unsuitable calculation is to include the buffer of the wetland. And that density calculation there only has just the wetland easement.
State law has changed that, so that buffers do count.
Okay.
I can provide the state law,
Yeah, okay. We were going by the local regulation.
but the state law overrides the local.
Okay. Yeah, if you could provide that. And that was pretty much it for now, until we get more stormwater information.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the current understanding on that, on the walkway that goes up to the historical cemetery? That seemed like it was a walkway at one point, and it was a stairway at one point. And those 2 parking spaces that are down at the base that are coming off of the Beach Road there. Are those for access to that cemetery?
That's the intention,
Is that-
providing a couple spaces so that when they need to get in there with the truck, you can get up there with some shovels and whatnot that they have to
Okay,
stay
so
apart.
they can
And they
get their
specifically
equipment,
requested,
they
it's
can
shown in
get
this,
their
this
equipment
plan as a concrete walkway, but it's really not intended to be concrete. And they requested it not be concrete. They just want to grab a walkway to get a wheelbarrow and some shovels up there.
out. Okay, so that hasn't changed, that's,
No, other than that, it's shown as concrete, but it won't be,
Right.
there won't be any stairs and it won't be concrete.
yeah, okay. No elevator?
No elevator, no escalators, no. No ramps.
How wide is that?
Just a quick, do you have a vegetation plan?
A landscape plan?
Yeah. Do you have a- can I-
Conceptual, obviously.
Yeah, I just want, because is that, all right, because my concern is the height from, if you want to say 17, 18, and 19, that you want the fire department to access from Sousa Road, okay? What's the topography from Sousa Road to there? What's your landscape plan for that? And then, I mean, granted, I don't think we're gonna get another blizzard next year, but we just truck through 4 feet of snow. And if that building's on fire or it goes through, I'm not gonna get to them through the snow, so, because I don't think they're gonna shovel the grass to get us access to building 17, 18, and 19. That's gonna be my concern. If you wanna say Sousa Road is the frontage, which I don't choose frontage, I just choose access. If you're gonna say that, then I need access to those buildings from Sousa Road. Because again, I mean, granted,
And that's
I'm
a
blizzard.
walkway access, that's correct.
So you do a walkway access from those to Sousa Road to the sidewalk that would go on?
Yeah, we could add a stair set, like
What's the,
going down
How-
from the
how-
sidewalk to the sidewalk.
yeah, but what's the grade from Sousa to those buildings? Like, how many feet?
It's up about 15 feet.
15 feet.
17
Yeah, so we're not gonna be able to truck through that in grass, so you're gonna have to provide something if you want to say our access to Sousa, you're gonna have to provide something from there. Because there's no way we're gonna truck through, 15 feet high in grass and snow, and it would make, if it's concrete or asphalt or whatever, they're gonna have to clean it. If I just say it's grass, they're never gonna clean it, just like, I don't think they're gonna clean the, if we put that turn around and will be, they'll never clean it. Because we have the same issue in another house, in a property development right now, that did the same thing many, many moons ago. So, thank you.
But you're okay with like a stone stepway or something that would be like a nice landscape feature?
Yeah, as long as
That
it's
we're-
hard.
Because like I said, the design intent is that these buildings are made to look like the front door faces the road, they're meant to look like the front of the road, so. Having stairs there going up to the sidewalk would be.
Yeah, and whether it be, like, stone, like rock.
Yeah, rocks and boulders and like,
As long as it's a
probably
pathway.
like 6 steps and a little landing,
Yeah.
6 steps and a little landing.
Just so that we have access to, from Susan to those units.
Yeah, that would be fine.
So if that were the case, you don't need a grass turnaround?
Technically, I guess no, because then their access would be Susan Road. And that would be considered driveway?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But those three addresses are gonna be Susan Road addresses. Because they
Is
basically,
it okay from your perspective if we have one access that goes from the sidewalk to the sidewalk, like in front of building 18?
no,
Say that goes-
no, because now if you provide it in front of 18, because that's the middle, my hoses have to go up that driveway, or walkway, across there, and then into 19, up 2 stories.
So you want to
Another
closer to
half.
building 17?
Yeah.
Just one, but closer to building 17?
No, each one is
Or
gonna
each
be.
one up there?
Right,
Yeah.
so 3 sets.
Right, because our hose will not reach, wherever, if you go to the middle, our hose is not gonna reach from Susan Road, up that topography, across, and then up, and now that's a 2-story building.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Just for clarification, the LMI units will be integrated.
Now, the LMI units are all proposed in the second floor of the commercial building. There are actually 3 on the second floor of the commercial building, and 1 on the ground floor. Four. That building will be separately used.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
All set, Mike?
Is ready?
Yeah, do you have anything you want to put up there, or good?
Good afternoon, members of the board. John Mancini, who's the applicant, which is before the planning board with regards to a comprehensive permit, is seeking preliminary plan approval. The project has gone through the master plan process and has had several hearings, also with the planning board. We have submitted a significant amount of information, which I'm sure many of you have that's going through. We do have our permit from the Department of Environmental Management. We're in the process of finalizing and obtaining an OT permit, which we should have probably this week. One of the other issues that was a prerequisite as part of our preliminary plan submission was a hydraulic study to be prepared and provided to the planning board, which is also been done by our engineering. So I have today with me Molly from the pre-engineering, who will go through the site layout. Essentially, what we're proposing here is 256 units, which will also have a affordable load monitoring housing component. It also includes some amenities. And we also have prepared, as I indicated, a draw report. I have research from our engineering here to address any concerns, questions you may have about that report. So with that, unless you have anything else, we'll ready to answer any of your questions and concerns.
Start fire.
You haven't done the calculations for fire hydrants or anything like that? You have?
Yeah.
Because I know there's a contract on fire pump.
Oh, Lisa, come on.
Introduce myself. Washington. It's cheaper like that.
So in your paperwork, it says fire pump likely required, like where are we standing with that?
Right now, there would be a fire pump required.
Okay. I'm just gonna review, is it Stonebridge? North Tiverton?
This is Stonebridge.
Okay, because they're kind of intermingled, and I don't know, I keep forgetting where the cutoff is. All right, so that's gonna be a requirement. Also on the plans, I only see 3 fire hydrants. I don't think that's gonna be good enough for this project. If somebody could probably tell me if there's any others. Usually hydrants are about approximately 400 to 500 feet apart, but you only have 3. I don't know, I'm trying to.
Yeah, we had 3 proposals, they do need the 500-foot radius around the site, but we can certainly add more to the.
Yeah, because I want to say right where that ends is,
Yeah.
somewhere in here is like very,
There's
very,
one here, there's one here.
right, so it leaves like kind of this whole
This
corner.
one.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to look at that. So the main entrance, how wide is that?
20 feet.
Both of them are 20
Yes.
feet wide? Okay, because I know there was a question on reducing that, so we're staying with 20 feet.
Yeah,
Yes.
we actually increased that based on the master plan suggestion to create 2 segregated pathways for access, incoming in and coming out, and maximizing the width of that.
And you know the Rhode Island has finally just changed their rules, the laws, the 21 edition of that, okay?
Yeah.
The trash disposal within the building, I don't see any trash chutes or anything like that. How is the trash going to be disposed of? I know there's the dumpsters in the corners, so they're not leaving the trash in the hallways or anything like that?
And that's a good question, I don't know.
Because I know I heard something in the initial part that they were leaving the trash in the hallways. I don't think that's a very good thing, because that might be a violation of the fire code.
Yeah, well, it would be unsightly too, so something I'll take back to the applicant in determining, I know there's got to be an operational protocol in place for that, so we'll look at that.
Have you looked at, and I know planning board is always looking at impact of the schools. Has anybody thought about the impact, just like I asked the other applicant, of public safety, with these being, what is it, 160 something units? No, you got 200 and something,
We're
right?
in 256 units.
With 4-story buildings, 3-story buildings, has anybody even thought about the impact of public safety?
We have, I mean, we also have a fire consultant that's looked at the building, because, this building's gonna be fire sprinkled. We've looked at traffic, we've looked at school bus, the drop off. We basically have looked at all of the boxes necessary to ensure that we can check them all along.
Yes. I have a comment about parking at the clubhouse. So where is that all just kind of, is those the spots on each side of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and again, the clubhouse is not a destination facility, so it's gonna be exclusive to the unit owners, I should say, it's not unit owners, but the inhabitants, the apartments. But we've added some additional parking space for visitors and, maintenance.
Mr. Dennis Streps, are you gonna also flush these hydrants too?
Is this a private building?
Yes,
Is it
yes,
private?
yes, private development, yes.
Yeah, we'll.
Okay, right. Do you know if they're gonna end up with water tanks or anything? Like
They're gonna need a storage tank.
storage tank?
You need
Okay.
that 1,600 gallons for 2 hours.
Okay.
Size before.
All right. Do you know roughly where that's going?
Uh,
You don't?
Nope, I just tell them off the
Okay.
size they need.
All right. And that's where the fire pump's going, so the fire pump is strictly for fire protection?
They'll have
And
a domestic service and a fire pump. Right, well, yes.
So the one fire pump on the, and I know I'm probably going ahead here a lot, the one fire pump for the pump house, the tank, is each building also gonna have a pump? Or is it just gonna be that one? With the fire suppression?
I'm not
I
a
don't
fire protection
probably-
engineer
All
for
right.
buildings, I don't know.
Okay.
And I don't know if we played that out yet.
Okay, yeah, that's why I said I'm probably jumping ahead.
Yeah, we're looking into that, so there's 2 things that we haven't confirmed. One is the location of the pumps, and location of the assessment, the location of the tank. We're also looking at some alternatives to see if we can find another means to support water here. And there may be an alternative to it. And we know that at minimum, this is based on what PAR has suggested, that's what we'll adhere to. And as I indicated, we do have, I think it's Justin Hughes that's on board with us as our contractor to figure out the details for the location of pumps, pressure, and sprinkler systems, and that'll all come to construction.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So it's gonna be a fully sprinkled building?
Yes.
You're gonna be following the 2024 energy code with these?
Yes.
It's gonna be as a privately owned?
It'll be privately owned, yes. Yeah, it'll be privately managed, it'll be managed by, property management company. And this entity has other similar locations in other states that it is monitored and built and occupied.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, and one thing, on the fire protection, once Jensen Hughes gets through that, 1,600 could be reduced. That's what he's, like, basing everything on.
But at least we know what the worst case scenario is.
Oh, yeah. I have a question about, which object, you said you had designed it. Yeah. How does that pump get turned on? Is that water that?
Yes, pressure. Pressure drops.
Just by pressure? So
You get the fire
you don't
pump?
have to go up, huh?
The fire pump?
Yeah.
Yeah, pressure.
Okay. And that 65 PSI, now, does that have to be running to maintain it on the, did the
Yes.
study include, like high volume water include?
You'll have,
What happens outside of the project, which has traditionally had low water pressure?
the system itself, the existing, our main road, it can sustain the everyday domestic use, maintaining that 65 pounds. It's the higher flows which will really bring your pressures down. But that's an emergency condition. It can maintain 20 PSI is kind of our rule. But yes, there's an impact to pressure that fire pump gets on.
Okay, so.
But domestic, it shouldn't be an issue.
So they, if they were fighting a fire within your project, that would not, right now, the intention is that it would not affect anything on the main line.
Correct, that's what the tank's for. That's what we need to tank.
And that automatically just is refilled off with the normal supply.
Get that going.
Yeah, that was a part.
So at this point, you don't have a location for the pump station or the storage tanks, correct?
I don't, yeah. Just has to be at the entrance so before it feeds first customer.
Do you have just a sense of the size of the storage tank?
200,000 gallons.
Okay, so
I don't know.
size-wise. But,
So
I think
what they want to do for site constraints, how
Yeah.
deep, how deep they want to go
Sure.
versus
I
width.
think we'd want to see some sort of visual impact analysis on that, so make sure, understand how that relates to the overall site, what the impacts are going to be for neighbors, and all this. So, at such time as you have a better indication of what size that's going to be in terms of the dimension, where,
How tall it will be,
right, obviously it depends on how wide. So,
yeah, and they have the volume.
Yep. Got it. Is, who goes it, I know it's too much. Okay.
Right, that was my question too about the size of the water tank. Yeah, I understand we don't know what it will be, but it needs to be a certain height related to visibility to provide the pressure that it needs.
Is it
No,
a
it's
tank
not-
or it's not a tower with
No, it's
pressure?
It's pump storage.
Oh, okay.
So they could vary it if they wanted.
Okay,
It's going to have
okay.
the site
It's just
constraints.
capacity.
Okay.
And that's what allows you to keep from drawing too much.
Right, the system will fill the
At a
tank.
peak demand time or something that would drop that 65 below, right?
The tank we're talking about is just fire suppression, or is it fire suppression and domestic?
Oh,
Okay, all right.
All right, I think it's 2 tanks. They're 2
no,
separate-
it's one tank,
Must be one tank.
2 pumps, so, but, well, there'll be 2 pumps to serve your everyday demand, but it will pump off of that tank.
So I'm sorry, I don't want to,
Well, they'll be restricted to, it will run off of that tank level, those pumps, so we'll never be able to draw that tank down, say, 2 feet, so there's always that volume in there for a fire. So domestic pumps will be restricted, how far they can draw the tank up and down.
that was, all right. So you're gonna have to get an agreement with Stonebridge on how, when you can fill it, how you can fill it? Because I don't know if they have, I know there's a property in town that technically can only fill at certain times. So your tank would have to be able to fill all the time, because we can't shut the domestic off, and if it goes below a certain amount, they need to be able to fill that.
They won't be restricted on what it can fill, it's just going to
Oh,
fill
I
at
know.
whatever, a low rate that won't impact their system.
So all right, so it's doing both, I just thought you were saying it was going to be fine.
It's being sized for fire. That's what's setting this volume.
Right, well, it's gonna be sized for technically both, right?
I guess, yeah, the top 2 feet will be, well, they'll figure out that operating.
Right,
efficiency
right.
To maintain that 1,600 gallons below that.
So just a follow-up question to how this like impacts the rest of it, like are there benefits then to fire pressure or capacity, or water capacity, from the location of the tank on that site?
Benefits.
Right, because like I think, she was saying that the neighborhood does deal with a lot of low pressure issues.
This won't impact anybody.
It won't impact anybody else at all.
Positively or negatively?
Positively.
Yeah, so this is exclusive for this development, so it's not like the other abutting property owners can tap into that tank.
Right, so it won't affect it either way.
No, so the goal here is based on, so what we were obligated to do is to do a hydraulic study in conjunction with Tiverton and Stonebridge, to determine what the impact would be for flow, for fire suppression and for domestic. So based upon this report prepared by PAR, the conclusion is that we don't have the capacity. So in order to meet it, to satisfy it, so that we don't affect any of the surrounding areas, and that to ensure safety, that we contain this, provide this storage tank. The storage tank is now for both. Sometimes you only have a storage tank for fire suppression, but here we're going to have one for both. So 1 tank, 2 pumps, domestic, fire. The location we haven't determined what it's going to be, most likely going to be underground. So it's not going to be, you're not going to see those big, it's not going to be a tower that says welcome to Vitality. But there's some sensitivity as to where we locate it, because we want to make sure it's not going to be trampled on as properly. But we haven't gotten there yet. That will be.
And there will be, because it's fire suppression, there will be low water alarms, high water alarms.
Yeah.
There's gonna be, and there'll be modifiers.
And the maintenance of that, sorry,
It's going to be.
maintenance of that and the pumps, is that a third party?
Well, it'll fall in the condo, it will fall upon the condo association, but will most likely, engage a third party to make sure that it's not active.
Is there any required monitoring in terms of the water quality within the tank and the budget of the tank?
Don't know that.
Could you give us an example of a project that's had something like this in the state of Rhode Island?
This isn't uncommon. Offhand,
Casino. The casino.
Casino runs this way.
Who was it?
The casino.
Sounds like.
No,
I guess the URI campus, the big campus, I'm working with them right now, they have the same setup.
2 pumps, 1 tank, is a little larger.
Or you don't, there'll be, the duty pumps will have, there'll be actually 2 pumps, will be domestic, you have redundancy, backup. There will be 1 fire pump, and that's the goal. But there'll be redundancy with domestic. And again, the pumps are gonna be, they won't be able to drain that tank. There'll be restrictions, with the alarms that we're talking about, the interlocks, so the pumps don't drain the tanks, there's no water in it. We'll have to make sure it's turned over for water quality, that's basic operational stuff.
is there a little bit more leeway on a shut off from those pumps for fire protection? So obviously, we
Exactly.
draw down below that 2 feet, you don't want outside of the fire.
We need to leave enough water in there for fire.
Right.
Just one more thing, because the other thing that I had written down at the last time was the meeting was that this bus drop off, and there was an issue of, and maybe you resolved it, but I wasn't sure, so if you could talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think we've come to a resolution on that with the superintendent, and that's going to be addressed at the next planning board meeting, where they are going to allow the buses to come on site to pick up the school children, and that pickup is going to be at the clubhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, I did provide them with a bus turning. This is the email from the superintendent. Agreeing to.
Okay, that's good. All right.
Agreeing to.
Yeah, all right, I just remember a lot, they were talking about the way they were going to maybe show up and.
Yeah, no.
They
it's-
were
Yeah.
gonna come, yes, to.
Okay. Okay, I mean, that's, I just didn't hear it talked about, so I'm happy to hear that it's working. But my final comment is, just making sure that, like, those dumpster pads, the one that's on, that's the southeastern corner, is near the Wetland Pond Complex, so just, I guess, when there's like details and information, making sure that there's some protections for whatever it is in the dumpsters and get into the, resources.
Yeah, that area would be more common back curved, and I'm pretty
Sure.
confident the drainage is towards the road network.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a few comments, and again, I'll provide a memo after the meeting, because we just had, I think, a handful of instances where, when we were double checking stormwater plan versus the details and whatnot, there was a couple of discrepancies on the elevations. If you could check those, and they're all listed in the memo. There's a lot to go through, certainly. And the only other item was that, and I don't know if we got an incomplete version of the stormwater management plan, but it seemed like a couple of the HydroCAD sections were like missing a couple of pages or just out of order. And it's because we got a big 500-page PDF when we were trying to look at it. So we have in here a couple of comments because we went through all the minimum standards, and one of the minimum standard one, the LID site planning, we referenced the Appendix A checklist, but we didn't seem to have that in our submission. So if you could just provide it to us, we could take a quick look at that to make sure that minimum standard was met. And then also minimum standard 3. Again, I think we were missing a couple of the pages, so we weren't unable to confirm that minimum standard 3 was met. In addition, all the other minimum standards were either, we have no objection to the waiver request for minimum standard 2, and then the rest of the standards were either met or not applicable, so we're okay with the rest of those.
Yeah, we'll get any documents. Once we have our final DOT approval, we'll be submitting final, kind of state approved plans that will cover, stormwater, as well as other plans. There's been some minimal changes to address state comments. Until they're approved,
Yeah.
we'll up, and we'll make sure you have all the pages.
Okay, great. And then again, I got a large file. I didn't see the truck turning plan, but I'm assuming that you received that.
Yeah.
But he did.
Okay.
I think they're pretty good. It's not in my notes, so they must be pretty good.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've submitted it twice, too. We submitted a master plan, too, and he had comments to it, and it changed some of the internal design.
And then a colleague of ours reviewed the PAR memo. I can't really speak to it, but she did have a list of questions that we just wanted to go over here. And then, again, we'll provide the memo, and then we'll provide the responses. Do you want me to read through them first?
Sure, yeah. Maybe read through the questions.
All right, we'll just read through the questions. And again, I can't really speak to them, but this is more her kind of expertise. The hydrant flow test report that was completed by Northeast referenced test reports, but we didn't, she was wondering if we could be provided those as well. And I think this was addressed, you talked about this. It is recommended the desired hydrant sprinkler let flow be confirmed by the developer's fire protection engineer once the building design is further along in the process. In addition, it's recommended the developer obtain the opinion of fire and their fire protection engineer to design an adequately sized fire protection system, which you guys discussed. Please confirm the flow test detailed in a report by Northeast was completed in the same service area as the proposed development service, or by a map showing the test locations.
Yes, we have that. I think that's easy.
Okay. The hydraulic evaluation of the proposed development performed for Stonebridge water system concluded that the system flows and pressure is sufficient. The evaluation considered pressures at maximum day demand and were the static pressures evaluated at the estimated peak hour demand provided by the developer.
Yes, yes. The static pressures are based on max demand, and then the peak hour would be at storage, so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's massive, peak hour.
Northeast's memo notes capacity is available. Capacity is available for Stafford Pond, but concerns with the existing Stonebridge infrastructure. Recommend confirming the existing treatment and pumping systems and the existing pipeline infrastructure can handle the additional demand.
So that was the memo prior to PAR study. So
Okay.
that was kind of us getting to the PAR study, so that was ahead of it at our master plan stage.
Okay.
And the results where they can't get fire flow from the plant to this site.
The infrastructure is not there.
Was the hydraulic model used by the PAR calibrated to observable field conditions prior to the evaluation?
Yes, it's just built, it's being calibrated.
Great. And the report suggested a fire protection system with a pump and tank, which we were discussing. In addition to boosting domestic pressures, the pump station tank are typically designed to minimize disruption to the existing system and take into account adequate tank filtration, have the effects of the sound distribution system been evaluated. Somebody you talked about that during emergency, it would drop, but during normal operations it wouldn't.
Yeah, when it gets to full design, that's when it's operational separates.
Yeah. And then two very specific questions. Quick operation of isolation or control valves has the potential to cause a water hammer effect that may be observable by other existing customers connected to the same water distribution system. Just wonder if that's looked at.
Water hammer?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be filling a storage tank, we're gonna be pumping off that storage tank, I would foresee water hammer being an issue.
And again, you'll see all the time.
That's the concept, right?
And are there concerns with water age due to the water storage tank capacity?
Yep, again, that's gonna be operational, we're gonna turn the tank over, so it'll be an inlet outlet configuration and some more water through the tank. That'd be even further in design.
Okay. And that was it for the water side of the question.
I have one more final thing that's not a huge deal, but just, based on what the chief said is have snow storage areas and identified on site, just in terms of, right, like safety vehicles, way for people to, be able to get in and out of their houses, and making sure that the snow storage, wouldn't be in places where it would impact the resources.
Yeah, we can certainly add that to the plan. We've got plenty of area, on the site, outside of.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we can designate some areas and make sure the grading is.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think Nathan probably already knows about that. I'm not sure how does this whole availability of the water work with multiple developments? I mean, right there, the group of seven that you have, almost 800 units, and some other development that's going on. But even though that may not affect, you may have covered yours, how does the system work? So that at some point you may have to restrict another development that is not as far along. How do you measure that hey, there wouldn't be enough capacity? You're all sucking on the same straw at some point. you can't keep restricting the no pump area, or keep adding to yours. You say, hey, every time a new development goes in, you have to use more of your water tank, or it'll impact on the main system. I mean, I understand the model, that you can feed all it in and look at it, but at some point, you know, how do you equate that? Do you get a reasonable development that we can, for fire suppression, for drinking?
Bob, maybe Bob, want to weigh in on that?
So Bob will let them up to the fire district. So I can't speak for Stonebridge, but I'm sure they follow on the same idea. If we approve a project, we automatically pull that out of our available water. So if this was our project and they came to us and we approved it, the next project, even though this one hasn't been built yet, will be based off this project within our system already. Like we have the Harkins project, that has already been pulled out. So now the next project that comes in, that Harkins is factored in like it's already there and built.
Okay.
Does that answer
Yeah,
that answer your
that's
question?
great. Thanks.
And Tim Burnham with Stonebridge, and the model also combined with that is going to tell you the immediate availability of the water. So if the model is run and it shows that there's not sufficient pressure for either fire protection or for everyday use, well, then at that point, the developer will understand that they don't have the availability of water for that project. No matter what anybody says, because that's the science of the project.
Right, I assume that's what happened here, is you ran the hydraulic model, you realized you had the water, you just didn't have the pressure, and so you had to deal with
Correct.
two things. One was the pressure, the other was to get enough water in there, so you're not drawing and reducing the pressure for everybody else.
Right.
And that's-
And the concept is the next development, this
This will
development
get factored
It's
into
already
that
in the model
hydraulic model
now,
now.
so if another,
Right, you'll take that into account.
that's the concept.
Yeah, sorry.
May I ask, Mr. Fuller, you said you've taken out the amount for the Harkins, have you taken out both phases or
Yes.
just the one phase?
Anything that we have said that we will feed stays in our model. So I believe it's Bayside is the other one?
No, I just, phase one and phase two.
We took all of that.
Okay.
And the one that is out on Tomini Road, that they Bayview.
Bayview.
Yeah, so those are all within our model now.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So this one's a little bit unique in the fact that it's 1289 has already been built, and it's kind of working backwards, sort of, both from a permission and a permitting perspective. So some of these things are a little bit difficult, because they are built, not necessarily proposed, but the permission is the proposal. So, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yes, I go back to here on behalf of the applicant, Blue Pine LLC. Just going to brief overview. This application has to do with two buildings on the property located at 1289 Stafford Road. This building is a little bit less than 6,000 square feet in size. Originally, it was approved for mixed use to have office space with one apartment. The present use has 6 apartments there. So the application is before you, seeking relief in 3 forms, 2 of which are to allow residential use on the first floor, and then the third item, or rather the third piece of relief we're seeking from the zoning standards are to allow more than 4 residential units to be not connected into public sewer, which I know is an ongoing issue with this application. We're in the process of getting an updated sewer plan that will be part of the application as well, along with some updated site plans. The structure is the same, the engineer is the same, we just need to update essentially labels and what have you on the site plan itself. I think that's kind of an overview of where we are and have to answer any questions or.
So, back, I'm just trying to read something here. Last year we did the fire code inspection. We went to the Board of Appeal and Fire Safety Code Board of Appeal and Review on January 6th, which was granted some variances and also given a timeline of 90 days to adhere to the rest of the items. Where do we, and I know it's probably not the meeting to do, but where do we stand on getting those that you just had over a month to get all 14 items rectified?
There, we do have a separate consultant who's working on all of the code issues. He couldn't be here today, but we certainly check with him to make sure that everything is on track.
Because you have April 30th, no, yeah, April 30th, no, April 16th, excuse me. To get everything done, and we haven't heard much
Okay.
about this, so, if they are going to get letters from me shortly, but while the attorney's sitting here, I might as well ask you, where do we stand, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can reach out either before, obviously, next meeting, we can certainly do that.
Again, they have until April 16th, and then they have to get the state fire marshal's office involved.
Okay.
So, I know it's kind of like you said, it's a little different, but I can't do anything until April 16th because they went to the fire safety code board, you know, so I had to, okay.
On that note, we had a building board of appeals that were on over here, and wanted that building to be vacated by 116. We haven't seen any compliance yet with the finances. And that has heard from owners or the code consultant once since that meeting.
Okay. Like I said, I'll certainly then look into that and make sure that we're in touch.
Even if it's not final, just a
Yes.
vacation back forward.
Yes.
Just make sure that's happening.
I'm sorry, this is one of the worst packages I have ever received. I mean, all I got was a bunch of plans, no narrative, plans that were not stamped, supposedly administrative subdivision not stamped. I can't say anything about this. I hear things, but I cannot back them.
Okay, I apologize, I didn't personally put that
I'm on
together.
the planning board. I was not on the planning board at the time this was supposedly approved. This goes back many years apparently.
Yes.
I was on sabbatical. Thank you.
Thanks, so obviously if this was going through fresh as a development plan review, site plan, all of that stuff, we'd probably be looking for some things related to the site itself. So we've got, obviously I think the parking is likely sufficient, but we just want to see some analysis in terms of the parking and the uses within that. I think it would be good to see some additional landscape treatments that sort of separate this building and its use from the subway. So right now it just looks like two completely incongruent properties all together, everybody sharing parking wherever. So I think really creating some sort of separation, and we can certainly work with civil engineer concepts on that, on what might be appropriate for creating that separation, a little bit more of an entrance within the parking lot to this part of the development, which is separate from the subway. So I think there's a lot of improvements that could be made that would, again, address this as if we were reviewing it for the first time for its use. So that's primarily that. I know it's a difficult one. I think the current owner, I don't know that they understood what they're getting into, and they're doing the best they can, and everybody here is trying to figure out how do we work backwards on this without setting precedents. So that's really what the struggle is here.
Yeah, understood.
DPW said, as this is an existing development already.
Agreed, I don't see any proposed site work yet,
Do water, yeah, so Mr. Willett.
The only comments I had was in the proposal, it says that the building is not on town water. But it is.
Okay, I can definitely clarify that. I don't know if that was perhaps
So
confusing.
now it's 6 units residential? Does that require sprinklers?
No, because it's we're treating it as an existing building rather than on the new. So,
The only issue I have with both properties is they both have improper backflow for their use.
So it seems like that's something that could
That's
be
easily
addressed.
Is,
That's for both the subway and
The commercial and the residential.
Right?
two questions for the attorney. Is this going to come to the planning board?
It is.
It is, okay. So maybe you want to give us a better package?
Yes, I'll.
And are we going to do it, apparently I was told that there was an ERS done. Is it going to be done again?
But I can check and see if we're going to do that, if that's the preference.
I mean,
here
it's,
to-
it's within the watershed.
Yes. We can, if that's what the board prefers, certainly do that.
It will come in under the form-based zone, not the GC.
It's a split. There's, the buildings outside the form-based code.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it is.
It's zoned.
All right, so again, it's going to be difficult, it's an existing building to apply form-based code. So we'll see what kind of things are in there that could be enhanced the overall. Very good. That's all we can. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Meeting is adjourned. Again,